Welcome to the Sales Whisper Podcast, session 25. We've got the CMO of CRM. What is going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us today. Since we last spoke, I hit another milestone. Finished my second book. It takes more than a big smile, a good idea, and a Twitter account to build a business that lasts. 72 stories on how to succeed in sales, marketing, and entrepreneurship. It is literally at the printer right now. I will have the initial copy sent to Scottsdale. I'll be next week at the Infusionsoft PartnerCon conference. I'm also going to catch up with Pat Flynn and Amy Porterfield at a meetup out there. So I'm looking forward to next week. See everybody at PartnerCon, see the book. So by the next podcast, look for instructions on where you can get it, place your order, maybe even get signed copies. Yeehaw. I've got more to come. I like writing, like putting it out there. It's a great way to stand out from the crowd, get your message out. When you do it right, you make a little money at it. So, hey, not too bad. Beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Today, I've got the Chief Marketing Officer of Infusionsoft, Greg Head. I've known Greg now for about 3 years. He joined Infusionsoft in the late summer, early fall of 2010. And I wanted to get his perspective on how he has seen technology change since his foray into databases and CRMs way back in 88, which he'll talk about, the late 80s, all the way to today. And then get his take on where does he see things going for the small business owner, for the entrepreneur, which is where we specialize. I mean, this is our area. So I hope you enjoy this session of the Sales Whisper podcast with Greg Head. Greg Head, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time.
Hey, Wes, it's great to be with you.
I've had all these great entrepreneurs on, Waldo, I've had Pam Slim, Jay Bear, but you're the highest ranking individual on the show. You are the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of Infusionsoft. So how does that distinction and honor feel to you today?
Well, when you say it like that, Wes, it just warms my heart.
So, hey, thanks for taking the time.
I don't think it's anything special. We're all working on really cool stuff.
Well, as we were talking about, I've known you. It's been 2 years, huh?
Yeah, of course.
Since you joined Infusionsoft. I wanted to have you on. It's no secret. I do a lot of work with Infusionsoft, but you have an interesting background, and I wanted you to share a little bit of your history, where you came from in the CRM space, and kind of how it's evolved, and what you see coming down the pike, and you being at the helm there during this explosive time of growth at Infusionsoft. I thought it was a good time to have you on and share some pearls of wisdom. So would you mind giving everyone kind of the nickel tour of your background and how you got to where you are today?
Well, I thought you said we only had about 20 minutes.
That's why I said the nickel tour, not the $5,000 tour.
Yeah. Well, Wes, unlike you, I'm an old guy, and I've been doing this a long time. I've actually been in the software business for 25 years, and I got my start, if I'll date myself here, working out of college with other college grads in the late 80s, just when the packaged software business was starting at Egghead Software.
Oh, cool.
And among other things, that was a booming thing. They sold half the software in the United States, but I discovered Act Software, this little product by 5 folks in Dallas, Texas, that was contact management software for salespeople. It wasn't called that yet, and so forth. But the first 10 people I ever sold Act to came back and said, this software changed my life. And a year or two later, I joined the little Act company when it was about 15 people and helped sell and became the product manager there and helped that grow. And we grew that to about 150 people. And salespeople were just learning to type in the early 90s, and Windows was just happening. Remember all that? Cell phones and email was just a twinkle in people's eye. And so I was there from before, when nobody was doing it to the tape phase when everybody was doing it. So I spent time at Symantec in the mid-90s when Act went to Symantec.
Oh, yeah.
And so did I. I got traded to there. And that was a lot of fun. I moved from Chicago to Texas to California with ACT, and in the mid '90s, I helped start we now call it CRM, but it was Salesforce automation software at the time. This is ACT for groups of people, called a company called SalesLogix here in Phoenix. So I've been in Phoenix now, just over 15 years, and I've been a marketing guy there and helped launch that company and grow it up and take it internationally. And we actually acquired, the SalesLogix company grew, we went public, and we acquired ACT from Symantec. So we got ACT and SalesLogix under the same roof. And so SalesLogix was created by the creator of ACT, Pat Sullivan, and 5 others of us who started it and grew it up. And so we had ACT and SalesLogix under the same roof in 2000, and I ran ACT for 4 years or so there. So you moved around a lot, and you know how this thing goes. But I've been through a few of the waves where nobody's doing it, and some people see that everybody will do it someday, and you try and get on that wave and technology growth curve. And so I've been in around sales and marketing and sales and marketing technologies for small and medium business. I've sold software to individuals and small business owners and bigger companies, and individuals and owners are where all the fun is at. You could change people's lives and really move the bar, and it's a lot of fun. So that's where I ended up here. I've been in Infusionsoft for 3 years now. And it's a different game. In the old days, it was just getting your contacts on a computer and letting the computer help you out. And then it was getting all your contacts and your prospects and your deals in the computer and coordinating across your sales team and the marketing team. But marketing really didn't show up to this whole equation until 5 or 6 years ago, more commonly. And Infusionsoft's been around for 10 years, so they were selling to some very early adopters here who were doing web marketing, internet marketing in the small business space. So Infusionsoft is its own special way to do this, which combines sales and marketing software and approaches in one system. So all that CRM stuff, ACT and Salesforce and SalesLogix and so forth, is your contact database, and it's a glorified contact database for larger companies. And Infusionsoft is a different, has that, but it also has the marketing engine and the automation to help do things for you. Right. And that's really the magic. That's what small business owners need. Right. And I just love this game. So and Infusionsoft is a special company. It just isn't a software with, we don't make just great software. We're passionate about serving and helping small businesses succeed, and our partners like yourself. And we're on a mission to change the way small businesses market and sell.
So you had mentioned, marketing was not part of sales, and I experienced that in my, decade plus in corporate America. It's like marketing and sales were always at odds. Mm-hmm. Was that your experience through the years?
Yeah, at bigger companies where marketing and sales are in different departments, related, but in different departments, and you got different directors and different functions and so forth, and a line in the sand between them. Yeah, they're doing different things, and they're trying to solve the same problem. So there's a little bit of the war that goes between them to solve the bigger growth problem and revenue problem. But at small businesses, it's different, and they don't actually use sales and marketing in the same way that big companies do. They're just trying to get customers and grow sales and follow up and get more people to their stores and their websites and attract traffic. And so when you think about it, there's the sales part of it, which is people helping to convert and transact or selling online with e-commerce. And there's marketing, which is kind of up the funnel, right? Getting people in the conversation and engagement and, moving towards a purchase decision if they're ready. So small businesses, they tend not to have different hats. And it's actually kind of fun because sales and marketing are part of this. It's really the same problem, two sides of the same coin. And when you get too big and too confused, it's, it gets too far away from it. For small businesses, sales and marketing are really part of the same thing.
Well, it is. And tell me if you've seen this, but when I see a sales guy leave corporate America to try to go do their own thing, marketing sometimes is a bit of a shock because they haven't been exposed to it, or they've been just at odds, or you see an entrepreneur go, the classic Michael Gerber E-Myth, the technician, the entrepreneur, the manager, and they're good at one but not the other, usually between sales and marketing. Do you see that as a big struggle for the typical small business?
Well, there's a lot to deal with. So if you can spend your whole life in sales and not really know marketing, or spend your whole life in marketing and not know sales at a bigger company, it means there's a lot going on there. And so that's one of the challenges for small business owners. The sales game, I would say, okay, we could sell online and so forth, but the sales game is not, the fundamentals of that haven't changed as much as the marketing game has changed. The tactics of marketing are moving around much faster, and it's an explosion of the ways people find you, engage with you, and purchase in the last 10 years. So just look at a politician or any small business. It used to be pretty simple tactics in the physical world, like in the mid-'90s and going back, right? Direct mail and referrals, and a little, maybe some print advertising if you were that, into that, or yellow pages, or, there was a bunch of things, and it and then people called, and then you physically wrote it down. And so there's a little paper moving around in the physical world. These days, and a politician, right? You did your interviews and your PR, and you kissed babies, and you did your thing. Now you have to do all that and the new digital stuff. You got to be on Twitter, Facebook, and everything else. You have to be ready for the digital world, the up to the minute game. So it's just doubled or tripled the amount of complexity in the tactical game. So that it is a little bit harder. So and the ones who are succeeding in the modern era, what that's really created, Wes, what we see when we look at the small business economy as a whole, we could see it in the economy. When we look at all the customers that we're talking to, and I'm talking to small businesses every single week. I mentored 20 different small business owners since InfusionCon this year. We see that level of complexity in the new world, that much is changing, has kind of created a two-tier game for small businesses. There's the ones who are getting in and playing in the new digital economy, right? The plumbers who show up when you Google plumbing,
right,
in Temecula, and those that don't. And then the ones that, when you go to their website, they're actually calls to action, and then you see they're on their Facebook page, and they look alive, and they answer their phones, and they respond to their emails, and they have a mailing list, and they're building all those systems. The gap between those who are playing in the digital world and figuring out how to do it and getting efficient, and those that aren't, is getting wider. And that's actually one of the biggest differences between those that are succeeding and those that are not. Because customers are now coming through websites. The customers are now coming through Facebook more than they're coming through Yellow Pages and driving by your store. Or, referrals have always been big, but now referrals are playing out in the digital world. So for small businesses. So it's a challenge to get it in the modern world. But those that get over to the other side are really winning disproportionately. That's a long answer, but that's what we see out there, and that's the implications of the change in how marketing is done.
Is there a shortcut to learn that, or is it just brute force, plow through it, stay up late, get up early, figure it out on the run?
Yeah, it's the first ones, the early, the small businesses who are the first to win in the internet game, right, are the ones who, stayed up late. Before the book was written, they found people who were kind of experts to help them and seeked out that knowledge and so forth. Now there's more books there and so forth. The simple answer for most small businesses business owners is that, they're dentists first, they're consultants first, they're restaurant owners first. They're not digital geeks and hyper marketers. For most businesses, it's really about getting help. Sometimes it's reading the book to get the concepts, but it's committing and getting the right kind of help to do it. And that's a little bit more investment to get you over the hump. But You can do it yourself or you can get help. Small businesses, we know this. We talk to them every day with our 16,000 customers, and we spend half our company of 500 people is talking right now to small business owners in this building. We know they need a lot of help, and we do a lot of education. There's a lot to learn and so forth, but jump in and get help.
Do you think most entrepreneurs make that leap too early and they're not ready, and that's what leads to so many high percentage of business failures we always hear quoted?
I don't know if they make the leap too early. So when I talk to entrepreneurs, the reality is most businesses are not the startups, the 20-somethings doing a startup. When we look at the small business numbers, there's 27 million, quote, small businesses in the U.S., and of those, there's about 5 million businesses that are 2 to 25 employees. So they have employees, they're real businesses, they're not just an idea or a individual independent contractor or something like that. So I've got W-2 employees. So most of those are more established business. They're usually over 5 years old, right? There's a lot of thrash in the early, startup kind of thing, which means small business owners tend to be a little bit older. So I'd say the bigger challenge is a lot of small businesses that are up and running right now are businesses that got created before the digital world, came on strong. You could, 5 or 6 years ago, Wes, you could get by with being a dentist or a contractor or a carpet cleaner or, with a Yellow Pages ad, some local service provider.
Right.
And now you just can't. It actually doesn't pay. And there's a lot of small business owners saying, I had this business, I've been doing this a long time. What used to work isn't working, and they're a little late to the game.
Right.
That's probably the bigger trend that's happening as more small businesses are realizing they're a little late to get on the bandwagon.
Do you follow or support Dan Kennedy's advice when he talks about, you're a marketer first? Or at least you should be, because you talk about these guys, they're a dentist first, they're a carpet cleaner first. But, I find myself really having to help my clients embrace the fact that marketing is their number one job.
Yeah, that's the realization. So it used to be in the older days that marketing was easier, let's say, the Yellow Pages and, right? You could get a little mailing list, your direct mail as a dentist or something like that. And dentists always, there's enough to learn to be a successful dentist these days that, there's a lot going on there. But, for 50 years in the dental business, there was a lot of people teaching dentists how to run a business and so forth. And now run a business is, we realize is mostly about finding and keeping customers to manage your revenue flow and grow that. So, so marketing is really taking over. So, I'm a marketer, and I know that revenues and customers and who you serve and how you find them and what you deliver to them and how that grows is feeds a business. So. Whether you can convince somebody who says, actually, I'll take that. I'll take that. A dentist, usually their main job is not cleaning people's teeth every day. It's as much running the business as it is doing the most important dental type tasks in a business. So they do really have a responsibility that's more than the actual production. So that's part of the challenge for small businesses is to run their business and not just have it run them. And I would say that's the number one job of small business owners is to run their business, and marketing is a big part of that.
Right. So you've been at this game now for quite some time, and you have a unique vantage point, being the CMO of a fast-growing company. What do you talking about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, people could get away with not being as good. Where are things heading? What do people need to master to be ahead of the curve in the next 5 or 6 years?
Well, let's see. There's two kinds of curves there. One is for the businesses that are already playing and winning, right? Where is the puck going for them? I'll just start with that. So the advanced businesses who are comfortable in playing in the digital age, and there's a lot of businesses that are all digital in their marketing and don't have storefronts and printed material, and right, we're one of those.
Sure.
There's almost no print in our world.
Right.
And there's a lot of touch, and we have conferences and other things like that. But what's happening is mobile devices and iPads, that's moving very fast, and it's affecting how people do things. So, and I'm not talking about mobile advertising or mobile this or mobile that, but Google and Facebook and Twitter and everybody else, LinkedIn and all the big guys are talking about how fast mobile is coming up in their business and how it affects them. For small business owners, it means that in 3 or 4 years, a lot more of what we do every single day as consumers is going to be connected to a device and less likely to be that other thing you might go to in the corner on your desktop computer. Since our devices are with us all the time, we get habituated to say, yeah, I'm looking for a school for my kids, and we don't go to some printed directory somewhere. You don't go to our desktop later in the week. We stand while we're talking to friends about it and start Googling away. Yep. And the experience, the purchase decisions and that discovery starts with mobile. Right. Which means more and more people are going to come through your website to be a purchaser, and more people are, or Facebook is going to happen more. So it's less about being ready for mobile. It's saying, I want to tell you that somebody who's going to, be looking for a kindergarten for their 5-year-old in 3 years has lived in a digital age and doesn't know life before Amazon, right? Or Facebook. Right. So it all starts with that. So the more that happens, the more the digital game is going to happen. So and be ready for that. So that's Facebook will be different in 5 years. Remember, 5 years ago it was Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter were just starting. Right. 5 years from now it'll happen. For the rest of the world, small businesses that aren't really up and running on the internet, they have to get up and running now. They have to and get comfortable with it. Meaning the way customers find them is on the internet in a bunch of different ways. The way customers engage with them is on the internet, and the way that they buy is internet powered. So there's a lot of small businesses that are not very internet powered. Most small business websites are really just like, here's my phone number and some information about me so you can find me. Right. They've got to really step it up, or they're going to move behind. So that, like, the new bar isn't just have a website and a Facebook page. You have to make those savvy and active.
Do you still see the small business as having an advantage in that space? I saw something, I forget who said it, but it was some famous dude talking about, in the future, the victory will go to the, whoever can change the fastest, who's most adaptable versus who's got the biggest marketing budget, the Fortune 500 type companies. So do you still see the business small guys as having a leg up as this evolves?
Well, in some ways they do, in some ways they don't. The winners in this digital economy, and in the last 5 years with all the shift in our economic recession and pseudo recovery, is been hardest on those small businesses, the actual small businesses with employees. If you're an independent contractor, just one-man band, and you're actually doing pretty well. There's more tools to enable you, and everybody's more used to doing that kind of world business these days. It's a lot easier being an independent contractor with no employees than it was 5 or 10 years ago. They're actually doing well. The numbers are growing there. And bigger businesses, the numbers are growing well. Employment is actually growing at bigger businesses, and so are profits. Mm-hmm. The Dow Jones and S&P 500 today is at a new high, or this week is at a new high. Forever, not just 5-year high. It's the new high ever, because they're leveraging all of the technologies and everything to be more profitable. They actually are more profitable. So they're getting into the digital age, like Walmart. They're doing the retail stores and online in a big way and getting good at it. So Small businesses are disadvantaged because the world got more complicated, and that's the last thing small business owners needed. So, I would say they're challenged with that, to get the knowledge, to get the systems, to get the continued improvement in their business up and running. The flip side of that is people want to work with other people they have relationships with. And small businesses still can win at that game. So if you want to compete with Walmart, you just can't be the friendly but completely old-fashioned small business retailer. You've got to be the friendly small business retailer who's also empowered to do things efficiently and in the digital ways that people want to interact with them. So, small businesses have to use that leverage of what people want. They want that personal touch. They want local people to help them and solve their problems, and they'll always be that. It's part of our economy. It's part of the American dream here in the U.S. to run your own business and serve people. And big businesses don't do everything right, so I don't think they're going to take over.
Right. So are we reliant then a little bit on the benevolence of our prospects that, to say, let the big guys let them down and then let them go search for us? How can that little guy compete in that world?
Well, you remember the dream of the internet, Wes, 10, 12 years ago, right? Level playing field. Because the big giants didn't have a clue, and the upstart small business, got things moving faster. But, the reality is big companies now are doing, very sophisticated things and trying to solve the problem. It's hard as a retailer, a little tiny retailer with old e-commerce technologies, to compete with Amazon, right?
Right.
So their delivery, their website, the scope of and the breadth of what they can deliver, and so forth. So I don't know. I wouldn't say small business have to be more focused than ever on where they can win, and they have the bar is getting raised, so they have to operate like their customers want them to operate. I kid you not, my wife the other day is talking about carpet cleaning, and she's just frustrated that she has to call somebody and leave a voicemail message to start the conversation with the carpet cleaner who has done our carpets every November for the last 10 years, right? Why wouldn't we be able to log on? Why wouldn't we get the email that Infusionsoft sends us automatically, and then we pick a date from there? And
right.
Come on.
Well, I live here in Southern California with In-N-Out, and I call it in and eventually out, because I understand it's made fresh, but good grief, and I've got kids in high school. Like I'm going tonight. My son's on JV. He's got a game. They moved it to Wednesday, so you could have Halloween off, and we always go to In-N-Out after the game because it's very close to the high school, and so we hang out. And good grief, it's so long. And I wish they had like a mobile app, right, where I could, as I'm walking out of the parking lot of the stadium, could just go in and order for my family. So that would be way cool. So carpet cleaners could definitely do that. Yeah.
And it isn't as rocket science as, and a lot of money, but imagine 3 or 4 years from now when the internet is even faster and we get movies in half a second downloaded to our TVs. Remember, 5 years ago, we were not doing this. Now we're doing this.
Right.
And everybody's got beautiful mobile devices, and this instant world is moving faster and faster for us. And I click on Amazon, and it appears right next to me, in 22 seconds or something like that. The expectations are changing fast. And, it's interesting sometimes. You feel like you go back in the dark ages when you deal with some small businesses, great people, and they're good business, but they got to move a little faster.
Do you think there will be a movement back towards, unplugging that personal touch because people are tired of being hunched over, staring at their smartphone?
No. I'm sorry, I've been doing this a long time. No, you could tell the first time somebody got a laptop that actually fit in their lap that this was going to be big. You could tell that the first time somebody got a BlackBerry and started to do, email while walking between meetings or something like that, or in the airport, this was going to be big. We're not going back. We do want to get that personal touch, but in a digital way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wes, you and I haven't talked since you were here 3 months ago or 2 months ago, but I see you on Facebook. I see your sense of humor out there. I know what's going on.
Right.
And that's personal, and it's real, and it's...
Well, but we already know each other, and we've known each other for 3 years.
Yeah.
And we're not really buying from each other. We're more partners.
Yeah, here's what I would say, though. Okay, so I'll take that. Small businesses, like big businesses, need to automate the stuff that doesn't create value.
Yep.
I mean, if I have to answer the phone, so you could we can negotiate over when I could do the carpet cleaning or something like that. That it's in your computer anyway. I'll just have my computer talk to your computer, and we'll agree, and I'll click a button.
Right.
But small business owners are wasting a lot of time on that stuff as opposed to getting to know their customers more personally and having more interesting conversations.
Yes.
Because everybody's got problems. I mean, if the carpet cleaner talked to my wife about something, she, within 5 minutes, he could discover all kinds of other ways that he could serve and help and grow his business. But if he's not even getting to that point, he's got to run on to the next thing, and then he spends all night updating, email and so forth. A lot of that can be solved more simply, so we have time for the better stuff.
Right.
And that's actually the bigger lesson for all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said, marketing is just selling in print. And,
I agree with that.
And because I was always butting heads with corporate America, right? I learned after many years that I was a marketer trapped in a salesman's body.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think, and there's always an exception to the rule, but I don't think a great marketer just exists, right? I think they at their core, they were great salespeople, and great salespeople are empathetic, right? They're great communicators, and so then their marketing resonates because they're great salespeople. And so
I agree with that.
But I think because people aren't naturally great marketers, but they're passionate about what they do, and that passion makes the sale, right? Mm-hmm. And so until people can master that, I think there's always going to be a bit of that touch that's needed. Because it's funny how still a card, right, a physical item coming in the mail has much more of an impact. And maybe it's because it actually costs money, right? Versus a free email, quote unquote, free email. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think and I hope, there'll always be that personal touch out there. But, I agree. Technology needs to help weed people out. So you're not talking to the tire kickers and wearing yourself out.
And also, there's just so much, I call it the manual labor of the digital age. Right. If you go into most small businesses, even in a dental office, you see their systems don't work together. They got 10 different things, and they got 2.5 people that are just retyping something from something to another and double checking because it isn't automated as much. So there's a lot of doing it the long way, even though it's digital, right?
So what's some parting words of wisdom you would give to our audience members? The business owner out there slaving away, the salesperson considering leaving that corporate America gig to jump out on their own. You know what? Maybe even the larger company, because we're seeing larger companies embrace Infusionsoft, at least as their marketing engine, under the hood. But I mean, What would you say to those folks?
Well, everybody's realizing that it wasn't as obvious before, but it's more obvious now. If you're not winning at the marketing and sales game to grow your business, you're not winning as a business, and marketing and sales go together. So it's something that actually big businesses are learning now, that marketing tools, because people are buying through the web and you got all this data and leads are coming from websites, and right, it's eminently trackable and very interesting. There's an explosion right now in marketing technologies, and that's really happening. Marketing and sales go together. So if you go into big business, it used to be that sales was over here and marketing is over there, and they'd fight across the lines about who's not enough leads. These leads suck, and all that kind of stuff. But bigger businesses are realizing it's all part of the same equation. Marketing reaches into sales, sales reaches into marketing. There's a lot of overlap. They're solving a common problem, and it's literally more one system. Small businesses have the advantage that they're not impeded by the complexities of big departments and the rest, but they've got to solve it from a more holistic perspective. Mm-hmm. And the business side is where it's at. In the technology business, in the 90s, when we were all getting computers and the internet was just warming up and all that, it was harder to make technology products, software products, than to find markets to serve. Right. So in the beginning of the 90s, no salespeople had computers, and at the end of the 90s, they all did. So, and more so, again in 2000. So it was easier to do marketing back then and harder to make products. These days, in technology and small business and big business, the marketing customer acquisition game is where, it's where it's at. Right. And marketing and sales go together.
Like peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly. I'll say it. I'll take that.
Okay, yeah. So here's the last question. Should I start Cam Newton or should I start Phillip Rivers in my fantasy football league this week?
I take Cam Newton.
All right, that's who I've got. You're a good man. Well, thank you, sir. I will. You'll be at PartnerCon next week, right?
I will see you.
All right. Thanks for taking the time.
All right.
See you next week. Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. And there you have it. Sales and marketing go together like peanut butter and jelly. You have to get better at your sales and your marketing, but leverage technology to do the grunt work, do that heavy lifting for you. Use video, things of that nature to build that connection with the individual prospect, to expedite the sales process, or at least to nurture it, carry it on while you are attending to clients, right? Or speaking with people that are closer, ready to buy, rather than those earlier in the sales cycle, and embrace mobile. It's funny when Greg brought that up, I do that exact thing. I've always got my iPhone with me. If I don't know the answer to something, I Google it right there on my phone. We look things up all the time. So can people find you online? Can they find you mobile? Can they interact with you? Can they get their questions answered? Are you popping up on the search results in a mobile environment? So it was great having Greg on. And like I started at the beginning of the show, be on the lookout for my new book coming out any day now. We'll have the website up and the landing pages up once we get the initial proofs back from the printer. But as always, I thank you for listening to the Sales Whisperer podcast at www.thesaleswhisperer.com. And please leave a review, comments on the website and on iTunes to help me spread the word. Thanks for listening. Remember to sell different.